Maria Sharapova should be banned from tennis for life. That's what I'm saying today in the changeover. Each episode, we debate some kind of controversial topic in the world of tennis. Kirby, welcome to the changeover.
Thank you.
Kirby's going to fill us in with a little bit of context here for those of you who've been maybe following or not following the Sharapova scandal involving her cheating. So, Kirby, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of context. James, 8 minutes on the clock, please. And we'll kick it off.
Here we go. Okay, so if you are new to the Maria Sharapova debate, here is your Cliff Notes addition to Sharapova on ice. So here's what happened. In March of this year, she calls a press conference in LA on an ugly piece of carpet.
I was going to say that.
On a hotel in downtown Los Angeles, and she announces to the press to get ahead of her PR that was coming her way that she tested positive for a drug called meldonium. The substance itself is called mildronate, and it was recently banned as a performance-enhancing drug as of January 1st of this year. So she tested positive for it at the Australian Open on January 26th, and it turns out
heart medication, right?
It turns out that she's been taking it for 10 years, since 2006. You're right. It's a heart medication. It's prescribed for people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic.
And apparently all kinds of Russian athletes.
Lots of them, but that is another story. So this whole thing has been very problematic. It has rocked our world because she is, of course, the second highest paid female athlete in the world and one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star, debatable, maybe it's another changeover topic,
ooh, good one.
In women's tennis. So that brings us to today. The most recent thing that happened was she was sentenced to 2 years banned from the tour, and she's now appealing. What do you think about this?
All right, so drugs and tennis, I think there's a dirty little secret among professional tennis players. This is the kind of thing where I think the majority of the public still has in their minds when they hear PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs, or steroids, or what have you. They think of the results being, oh, they're going to get big, bulky, super strong, and like ripped. But I think the Lance Armstrong debacle showed us that that's not necessarily the case. It very often is more about recovery and being able to maintain a very, very high level of performance over an extended period of time. Let's say maybe a Grand Slam. So I've heard from a lot of different sources that are close to the tour that there's way more of this that goes on than what most people are aware of. And quite frankly, I think the ATF should treat this more seriously. I'm concerned that there's a conflict of interest when it comes to testing and when it comes to rulings like this. I feel like it should be all or nothing, is basically my opinion here.
Okay.
Either it's one strike and you're out, you cheated, you've tainted your body, and taken things that have given you an unfair advantage, or at least per the rules as of right now. And so that's it. You know, you've proven yourself not trustworthy. You've cheated in a way that has totally undermined the integrity of what you do as an athlete. I think it should either be one strike and you're out, or free for all. Go ahead, take whatever you want. Yeah, whatever it is that makes you perform at your best, whether that be training, whether that be substances, go ahead and go for it, and may the best athlete win. But I feel like the ATF is kind of somewhere in between, where we're definitely not hearing about everything, and honestly, I don't have a lot of trust in the system right now. So I would rather see that one extreme personally. That's just my opinion.
Well, the whole thing is that there's a lot of confusion in this case, being that before January 1st, the drug wasn't an illegal substance. It hadn't been banned. So it's very perplexing in terms of context of this case. It's perplexing that somebody so detail-oriented and so on top of it as Maria Sharapova is with the resources that she has, that something like this could possibly slip through. It's unreal.
Who did she blame it on? She blamed it on her publicist or manager or something?
There's a 33-page document, if you guys want to read it yourself, that the ITF released in the ruling. And in it, I think that the most amount of blame is her agent. Yeah, he says that that he was on vacation and because of personal problems, he split with his wife, and so this is really the reason why it slipped through the cracks. But nonetheless,
doesn't the ATF say that they warned her directly several times?
They do, yes. They said that.
All right.
They said that they warned her directly, and her case still, her point was that she still didn't receive these warnings. So I can't speak about that. But the whole point of my story is that it's. I think that 2 years is appropriate. I'm sure that she will. For a lot of players, this would be a death sentence at the age that she is, because a lot of players don't play into their 30s. Now, of course, that's changing right now, so we don't know if she'll come back or not. She's making it seem like she will, but I think it's a time of a lot of transparency across the tours, and that they kind of had to make an example of her, even though this is her first offense. So I think 2 years is okay.
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 Yeah, I'm really afraid that some kind of scandal will come out against one of the. And Sharapova is right up there on the women's side.
Mm-hmm. She's it.
Yeah, definitely. I would hate it. Players that have had such a huge impact, like her, mm-hmm. and like Serena, or like Nadal, like Federer, for something to come out about more of those types of players, I think would just have a terrible effect on our sport, and it's something that I would hate to see happen. Going back to the conflict of interest thing, the thing is, the ATF, the way that they get their revenue is from professional tournaments. They do the testing, so they have a joint interest in wanting these players to be on the tour as much as possible. And we've heard about other examples like Agassi, in the case of Agassi, where he tested positive for illegal substances and took a break from the sport. And we found out later that it was actually a silent suspension. These things shouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. If they really want to preserve the integrity of our sports, then they need to treat it seriously. The only way that you're going to keep these top players away from the temptation of staying that half a step ahead of the system is going to be to treat it with enough severity that they don't even consider it. But as long as it's, kind of playing with the rules a little bit here and there, whether it's appeals or silent bans or whatever, these athletes are going to be encouraged to take whatever little advantage that they can get, because that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to win. And so if they can hire a doctor to keep them a half a step in front of the testing process, that's a really tempting thing for somebody who's maybe right on the verge of breaking through as a professional player.
Well, but at the same time, with this drug previously being legal, these guys are on. They have people traveling with them all the time, monitoring their supplements.
Okay, do you honestly believe that she was taking this for heart reasons?
No, 100%.
Okay.
I'm not saying that she shouldn't receive any punishment. I'm just saying that I think that this is an appropriate punishment for her. I think that the 4-year ban would have been, for sure, a death sentence for her career. And I think that this is an opportunity for our sport to get back on its feet when it comes to these things. This is kind of a make good situation in my head, because this is going to start a precedent, because our problem with this debate is we don't have much precedent to go off of because we don't have other situations that we can speak of because we don't know about them. We know about Wayne Odesnik here and there. We know about
The ATF
Andre
knows about it, but
Agassi.
nobody else.
Right, exactly. So in my opinion, we're in this age of we're getting to have more transparency between the match fixing scandal that was happening earlier this year and now this. It's in our sport's best interest to continue with this, have more conversation and open dialogue about it so that we can get better. So I think that this is a good line in the sand to draw initially as a precedent. So 2 years is a good punishment for me.
So she appealed, though. So in my opinion, if it gets dropped to a year or less, it's essentially a slap on the wrist. Sure,
I totally agree with you there.
Towards
Ian.
the end of her career, but still, I would lose a lot of respect. I would lose a lot of respect for the ATF if it gets reduced by more than half of 2 years. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Those are our opinions. Mine's pretty strong. I realize that, but I think that's the only way to really make the players take it seriously. Let us know what you think down below. Kirby, any last thoughts?
I think that's about it. We want to know what you have to say.
Quick like if you enjoyed this video, share it up. Thanks for watching, and make sure to join us on the next episode of The Changeover. For hundreds of free digital tennis lessons, head over to essentialtennis.com right now. More wins and more fun on the court is right around the corner. You'll even get a free gift just for stopping by. Simply click the link at the top of any page.